conveyancer, stamp duty, bank fees, insurance. This is a video on all the costs involved in buying a home. You must be thinking, damn Lise, is this place yours? It's nice AF. And I'm gonna respond to you and say, no, I'm in lockdown right now, so I found the next best thing. When I did my previous video on property and the 6 helpful things that I've learned purchasing 2 properties before 30, you guys seem to really like that video, and even though nobody asked me, I thought it'd be wise to share all the costs involved in buying a property so that when you do go to buy a property, you know what you should be expecting, around how much you'll be spending in costs for each ticketed item, and basically how many mee goreng's you might be eating in the future. I'm Lisa, in case you didn't know. I'm an edtech entrepreneur. I'm basically starting my new side hustle now, which is this YouTube channel. And here we talk about entrepreneurship, bettering yourself, and adulting basically. So if you like what you hear, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification button. So when you go into CommBank, plug in some numbers, you get to see this. Dude, like none of this looks that helpful. What is other? This is what you should be expecting. So what I've done is I've gone through all the costs involved in purchasing my latest property, and we're going to go through them, and I'm going to talk you through them so that you know what you can anticipate in the future when you're buying your property. One thing that actually really threw me away was conveyancer, and that is essentially just your lawyer. I thought that you needed a lawyer and a conveyancer, but no, this person is your lawyer. So with my conveyancer, I spent $1,050. What my conveyancer did for me was basically just go through searches to basically see if there was any debts or anything that was important for me to know as a purchaser of the property. So this included things like council rate search and seeing if there was any debt there, land tax search and seeing if there was any unpaid amount there, water services, and there's plenty more. You can also select more searches as well, but this was sort of just the most basic packet of the searches, and that's all I really felt like I needed. So that total was $600. You can do conveyancing yourself, thanks Google, but if you do, you still need to pay for searches. But I prefer to just do the $600 because it gives me that peace of mind knowing that a lawyer is taking care of everything, and it's just sort of like, yep, you deal with it, because there's so much else going on during your property purchase that you sort of want to leave it to the hands of the people who do it best. Then what came was my initial deposit, $5,000, and that's sort of just a sum that you put down just to say to sellers that you're serious about purchasing this house. From there, I went and did a building and pest inspection. You should definitely do this no matter what house you're buying. You just want to make sure that you don't have, termites or any sort of damage in your walls that you can't see. A building and pest inspector will go in with their inspector glasses, and they'll just look for things that you as a lay person wouldn't ever know how to look for, and even that you had to look for them in the first place. This was $500, but this $500 is just something that you absolutely have to pay, because you'd rather pay the $500 now to find out what all the faults in the property are before you actually go and purchase the property and realize, holy shit, I need to fork out an extra $40K to repair all these things in the home that I didn't realize I had to repair. Then what came next for me was Landlords Insurance. My Landlords Insurance is $1,582.82 to be exact. Landlords Insurance is basically just to help cover you as a landlord. So if anything happens, like your tenants slip on the stairs, I think you don't get sued for it. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that you need to have insurance of some sort. And I also know that if you purchase units or basically anything that has to do with Body Corp, you can usually be covered by the Body Corp's insurance. So just bear that in mind and just check it out for your situation, but you don't necessarily need to have Body Corp and buy an insurance as well. After that, I submitted my second deposit. So my second deposit was $10,000. So that's another promise of going, yep, I'm serious about this. I'm purchasing this house. From there, I paid the infamous stamp duty. Stamp duty for me was $17,115. Then you've got bank fees. That included registration fee on transfer of land, $1,388, property search fee, $30, and my bank bank application fee, which was $995. I think the application fee will be different for everyone, so check with your bank first. Can you believe that there are so many costs involved? Like this video if you're finding this helpful, by the way. Then I finally paid my balance deposit, which was $91,000. Holy shit. That's a lot. Now, a couple of extra costs that I incurred. I purchased my property interstate. So I hired a buyer's agent, and a buyer's agent is basically somebody who knows the property market really well, or at least, they're supposed to, and they help you find the right property for you. It took me a long time to sort of decide on my buyer's agent and to even decide that I wanted a buyer's agent, but I was really happy with this particular person, and because I was going to purchase my property interstate, I felt like I wasn't as familiar with the area, and so I wanted somebody who had that local expertise that they could bring to the table. With buyer's agents, they also bring lots of other types of expertise to the table as well. So they've got all the connections with real estate agents so that you can access property that hasn't even gone out onto the market yet, which means that you could possibly get your property at a discounted rate, which is exactly what happened to me. I ended up saving thousands of dollars because I worked with this buyer's agent and they taught me how to negotiate. They were really great at holding my hand throughout the entire process. And because I was able to get my house at a lower rate, I was then able to make repairs and really just amp up that home and add more value into it so that I could rent it out at a higher rate. So the upfront cost of purchasing this property was $144,870. Here are some extra pointers that will help you. Just know that banks will only lend you 80% of the total loan. So if you buy a property that's $1 million, because we're gonna get there, am I right, fam? Then you'll need to have 20% of that saved up, which is $200,000. And while that might sound a lot, and it is a lot, just know that if you've got a partner who you're working towards in buying a property together, then you can also split this sum in half. Now, if you're not able to save up that 20%, there's something such as lender's mortgage insurance. LMI protects the bank from any loss they incur if you're unable to repay your loan. I personally am not comfortable with getting lender's mortgage insurance because it basically tells the bank that you haven't been able to save up that 20%, which sort of speaks to how you live and how well you save. And if you can't save up that amount, the banks will then make you pay LMI, which is basically more money that you're forking out. So my recommendation to you is if you can save up that 20%, save up that 20% because it's gonna do you a lot of good in the long run as well, because you're not paying that extra insurance on top of the mortgage that you'll be needing to pay, on top of all the expenses that come into owning a home as well, such as repairing things, hiring rental agents, land tax, water surface bills, tax depreciation schedule, all of that. I think if you haven't been able to save up to the 20% as well, then that's sort of speaking to one, either you're trying to purchase a property that's way outside of what you should be buying, so that's just lifestyle cost inflation that you shouldn't be doing. And secondly, again, it speaks to how well you save. So if you can't even save up this 20%, how are you going to maintain your savings when you purchase a home? Like, do you have those good saving habits? What's going to happen if suddenly your rent just disappears for 6 months, which is what's happened during COVID, and you need to be able to back yourself up with that money and fork it out to the bank? So yeah, personally, I just wouldn't go near LMI. I would say to be safe when you're purchasing a property, you sort of want to save up around 30%. This way, I feel like when you go into purchasing a home, you sort of have more than enough to have you covered. And if you can, I'd save up even more, few thousands, just to sort of protect you if, I don't know, anything goes wrong. My worst nightmare is giving all of your money into this mortgage and you're just left with nothing. Like, you want to have a little bit of buffer, you know? You want to have a couple of $100 or so just so you can treat yourself after you purchase your property, right? So what I recommend you now is go have a watch at my other property video. Make sure you subscribe as well to my channel if you want me to create more property videos like this for you, because I'm more than happy to.